Hi there, I'm John and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm John from Nigeria. I do the occasional singular book reviews, book tags, book hauls, everything bookish. You can find it here. And if you're a fan of essay length written reviews, I write sometimes for a Substack called A Couple of Dorks. I'll link it below. I don't have anything there from this year so far, but I am hoping I will start putting things up there very soon. I do not want this video to be too long because it is a very massive book haul. It is the biggest book haul I have done on the channel, and it just so happened I accumulated these books over the past 3 or so months, but a good chunk of this was accumulated from my Lagos trip, which I came back from on Wednesday. I went to Lagos for about 12-13 days or so. I brought back 27 books with me. I had 24 I already had on ground from March and April, so I'm just going to show all of them to you guys. I have missed talking about books on here. My reading here has just been so shitty. That's the problem. I've not been reading as much, but I finished a book last night called Tonight I'm Someone Else by Chelsea Hudson. It's an essay collection that I started last month. It's the quickest it has taken me to finish anything in a while, but then I'm still reading Frankenstein. Even though I'm still at page 51, I'm still sticking out for this because I'm not disliking it, I'm just being lazy. And I'm at page 221 of Sorrow and Bliss, my favorite book, so that's past the halfway point. I have just 120 pages left in this. I think I've been reading that since, I don't know if it's March, if it's February, or if it's January at this point, but I know that it took me a month to finish it the first time, less than a month, and so with subsequent rereads it takes me, I just stretch it out. But finally, just to get into the book haul, it's a mix of some vendors I've used, some vendors I saw in Lagos, and my book fair, which you guys know about. Hi to Court, Marketer, Don, who sometimes comments, and Doug. Yeah, those are my regular guys. I've missed you guys. I promise I'm going to do a wrap up for next month because it's looking like I'll finish some books. But yeah, let's just get into the haul. It's somewhere around 3 a.m. This is the only time it's not noisy throughout the entire day, and I'm just going to sneak this video in because I really want to talk about these books and get them into the shelf. Maybe I'll show it when I'm done, and yeah, they're on the floor. But yeah, let's get into it. The first book on here is I Feel Bad About My Neck and Other Thoughts on Being a Woman by Nora Ephron. She is the mind behind When Harry Met Sally, Heartburn. I think these are famous films. I've not seen any of them, but I got this because of somebody on here, or like 2 people. I am already a few essays in and almost at the halfway point. I think I started this in February or March. So yeah, it's witty. She has a very comedic voice. I can see maybe where people like Dolly Alderton got their voice from because she's very notable. Yeah, it's a mix of personal essays. The first one looks at aging, the neck, and how it's the thing that you can never disguise, even if you do. Like, there's no surgery for disguising the neck, and it's really a collection that progressively seems to be about like getting older, and I'm really enjoying it and her witty voice. So I'm not going to talk too much about these books. I'm just going to run through the rest of them. The second one on here is The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. I got this set from Lagos in February. That was my second visit there. But yeah, this is said to be a cult classic, a small classic of sorts. It was published in 1967. I do not know too much about it, but I think I saw it somewhere and it just made me want to get it. I think I heard also that the author was a woman, or is a woman who wrote this at 16, which is crazy to me. But yeah, it says a heroic story of friendship and belonging. You guys know I don't like to read it back. The next thing I have on here is So Long a Letter by Mariam Abba. This is a Senegalese African classic. I was so lucky to see this because I did not see a lot of these. It's in this African writer series. It's like 100 pages. My friends have read this. I think I'm going to read this year. The next thing on here is All the Pretty Horses by Cormac McCarthy. I saw this and immediately launched at it because I don't see a lot of McCarthy books, but you would see another one here. This was my second one of his I got. I have Child of God in this edition. I want to read him. I don't know if it's going to be this year, but I'm very glad to own this one. It's so clean, it's so pretty. And yeah, I'm kind of collecting these vintage classic editions. And surprisingly, American Pastoral Philip Roth was the next thing I got. It's also in that same edition. It was the winner of the Pulitzer Prize. If you guys have been here, you know I read Roth for the first time in 2024 and I love his voice. I really want to finish his Nathan Zuckerman series this year. And this one is chunkier and very notable, and I'm just glad to own another of his books. I really like Philip Roth. So moving to this next set I got from the book fair. Yeah, the first thing on here is The Crying of Lot 49 by Thomas Pynchon. This is my first Pynchon. I'm so happy to see this because this is where I have always wanted to start. The next two books on here are Baldwin books. I have The Fire Next Time, which you guys know I read last year, but that copy was for my friend, so I gave it to her and I decided to get my own copy because I think this is a very essential book and I wanted to reread it, right? So I reread the first essay, short essay, and annotated some, but yeah, I paused because I was not in the space for it, and maybe because it was too sudden since I first read it. So, but I'll reread this again. Next, I got If Beale Street Could Talk, which I have always wanted to own, and this now puts my Baldwin tally at 5 books, and I like that I got it in this edition as well. The next two books are George Simenon books. It's in his like detective series of, it's sort of his Mrs. Maple thing that Agatha Christie does. I think this is Maigret's Secret and this is Maigret and the Tramp. I really got them just because they were in the same edition, and I love owning books in the same edition. I've not read any Simenon, but I own Dirty Snow in an NYRB edition, which is going to be the first of his works I read. And the next book on here is Henry James's The Turn of the Screw, which is my third James in this Black Penguin Classic edition, and this is actually where I want to start with Henry James, so I'm very glad I got this. Finally, we have The Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis, who I've recently acquired more books by, but the only thing I've read by him is The Magician's Nephew from the Chronicles of Narnia series. But yeah, I don't really know what this is about, but I think it's a novel in letters, but it's really clean and yeah, I really like the way it looks, so I got it. This next set also came from the book fair. So the first one on here, again another vintage classics edition, is Ulysses by James Joyce, because I want to own Ulysses. I want to own what is said to be maybe one of the most difficult novels, if not the most difficult novel of all time. And this is in this, the complete and unabridged text as corrected and reset in 1961. It's a bit worn in some places, but I really do not mind it because it was really cheap, and I kind of sometimes think like these worn places gives the books some sort of flair. I'm not really crazy about book covers and things like that. So yeah, the next three, the first one is Leo Tolstoy's The Death of Ivan Ilyich. I am so glad to own another Tolstoy. It's a little annotated by the previous owner, which you know I do not like annotated books, but I did not know it was. But yes, also I do not mind since it's really short, and yeah, I might read this year because I kind of miss Tolstoy's voice, and I know I'm not going to be getting to War and Peace for the next few years. Then I also got Of Mice and Men, John Steinbeck, really tiny. Also another person I really like, it was my number one author of last year with Grapes of Wrath. So this is his third book I own. And another author I own a third book by, it's Paul Auster with Invisible. Yeah, Invisible. I do not know what this was about. It was just like 1,000 naira, really cheap, and I was just like, why? Let me get it. The next two by the same author in the same edition, it's Chimamanda. I have never gotten her works for myself until now, and I saw this two and I was like, I think this is time. Let me just get this. And the first one is Purple Hibiscus, which is her debut, and where I'm probably going to start whenever I read her. I don't own a lot of Nigerian books because they're quite expensive to get, especially newer ones, but I'm not really interested in a lot of new releases from here. And the second one is Half of a Yellow Sun, Chimamanda as well. Very notable, very acclaimed work, over 500 pages, and yeah, glad to have this in my library. Next, I have Little Children by Tom Perrotta, who I've not read anything by, but Yena from A Modern Achuma, I read this and really liked it, and she's even the reason I bought Tom Perrotta in the first place. So don't know much about it, but excited. And finally, I finally have my own copy of The Odyssey by Homer. I don't have the Iliad yet, but I might just get it in this edition as well, so I have the same edition of the two books. But yeah, I have this crazy idea that I want to finish this before Christopher Nolan's adaptation is out, because I would want to see that in the cinema by myself or with my friends. But yeah, I don't know if it's extremely difficult, but yeah, who knows. So now we have gotten to the final 27 books I got in Lagos, and I am going to speed through them. These small two ones I got as like gifts for buying books from the vendor. This is Anthony Borges' Childhood in this very tiny Penguin 60s classic edition, and this is Guy de Maupassant's Bull de Suif. I've not read anything by him. I don't really know much about him, but I like French literature, so yeah. Next on the list is No Country for Old Men by Cormac McCarthy. Now this is the McCarthy I want to start with, and I was so happy to see it. In this edition, I do not really like it so much because of Javier Bardem's face looming over the cover, but I have not read it or watched the film, and I don't mind, so yeah. Next, we have The Years Virginia Woolf. I did not even know that she had a book called The Years, but it's Woolf. I want to own more of her works, even though I've not read her, because you just hear endless praises of her, and the women writers always get me. So there's that. And next, I have Thomas Hardy's Woodlanders, or The Woodlanders. I've not read anything by him, but I own Tales of the D'Urbervilles back there, so yeah. Next, I have Stendhal's Scarlet and Black, which I had never heard of until I bought it. It was 4 classics in a set for a cheap price, so I was like, why not get it? And it's looking to be almost 500 pages. Okay, it's around 500 pages actually, and it looks so small, and I just know it's French. I like the French. I don't know if I'll love this, but I think I would be fascinated by it. So next, I got Anne Bronte's The Tenet of Wildfell Hall, because I own Charlotte, I own Emily, so it's only right that I own one of Anne's works. Next, I got The Woman in White, Wilkie Collins. I don't know why, I don't know anything about this. It has this very ominous cover that reminds me kind of Shirley Jackson's We Have Always Lived in a Castle, but yeah, it's kind of a chunky book, around 600 pages. Yeah, so I got that. Then I also got Ethan Frome by Edith Wharton. I own The Age of Innocence. This is another one I know is very notable, and the writing is so big, so yep. And finally, from this set, I got On the Road by Jack Kerouac, which I've always wanted to own physically in order to read it, and I just really like this copy and this edition, and just the fact that I own it. And yes. These 4 I got from my vendor, Hazel Books. I've been using her for maybe 4 years now, or 5 years, I can't remember. But the first thing on here is The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, The Chronicles of Narnia It's a book in the series. I think this is the fifth book. I guess this is the fifth book. So yeah, it's in this. This is very different from the other editions I own, and you'll see two other ones as I progress. But it was really cheap, and I was like, it was on a sale, so I just could not pass it off. And it seems they put like movie stills in here. I don't know that I'm a fan of that, but it is what it is, I guess. I cannot remember if I have seen all the films, but I know I've seen bits and pieces of it. Then I got an April's Accordion Crimes. I know she is the writer of Brokeback Mountain. Brokeback Mountain is my second favorite film of all time, and it's a really chunky book. It was on a sale. I have Bring Up the Bodies by Hilary Mantel. This is the follow-up to Wolf Hall, the second book in her trilogy about Thomas Cromwell. This surprisingly won the Man Booker Prize in 2012 after Wolf Hall won the Man Booker Prize, I think in 2008 or 9. Crazy. And last here I have Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel in this cover, which I had never seen before, and which on my own I don't think I would have gone to like it to read her, even though I know she's quite notable. But yeah, it was really cheap, and I was like, what gives? So I just got it, and now we are entering the final leg. I have two books here in the Chronicles of Narnia, the 7-book part series. So this is Prince Caspian, this is the 4th book, and this is the Silver Chair. This is the 6th book. So I have the Magicians, no, I have the 2nd book, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe back there, and I've never read the series, and I don't know, I think it was 2 years ago at this point, a customer bought the entire series, the box set, and she was like, you have never read it, so read it before you ship it to me. And I only managed to read the 1st book, and I have not gone back since then. So for some reason I am inclined to keep going, even though nobody is forcing me. But yeah, they are in these very clean copies, and it's just classics for the rest of this bunch. Here I have Robert Graves's Goodbye to All That. If you know, you know I love the essay Goodbye to All That by Joan Didion. I don't know if by chance the title was inspired by this, but this is an autobiography about World War One, Graves in World War One, and yeah, I just really love this statement Goodbye to All That, so I bought it. Yes. And next we have A Room with a View, Ian Foster. I own Howard's End back there. I dislike this cover. I've never seen the film or anything, and I do not like this particular film tie-in cover. I usually do not mind, but this one just pisses me off. But I just want to own it, and I bought it. The next 3 are by an author named Garrison Keillor. I don't know if that's how you say his name, and they are all in the same edition. That was what drew me to buying them. I'd once bought one of his books titled Radio Romance, which I no longer own, but they are published by Faber and Faber. The first one on here is The Book of Guys. They are all short story collection, it seems. The first one on here is The Book of Guys. The next one is Happy to Be Here. This I think is a drawing of him in cartoon form. This is him at the back. I just really like covers in sync, and this is Living Home, which maybe is my favorite cover of the 3. So yeah, they are all short story collections. I have Ian McEwan's First Love, Last Rites. I read McEwan for the first time last year with on Chesil Beach. I really liked his writing style. This was his debut work. It was his debut short story collection. It's really slim. I am excited to get to it sometime and see more of his writing. And last year I got Bleak House by Charles Dickens because I really want to own more Dickens, and it's his 700 plus page book in this Wordsworth Classic Edition, which makes the writing really tiny. But yeah, I only this cover I kind of like for some reason. So, and we are down to our final set, so let us get into it. I have The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Eugenides. I want to read this book very soon. I'm even going to put it on the table of books I want to read now, but he won the Pulitzer Prize for Middlesex, which I used to own and I no longer own. The writing is really fast, so happy about that. But yeah, I really want to read it so I can watch the Sofia Coppola adaptation. Next, I have Revolutionary Road by Richard Yates. I've heard this is a very, very, very good book. There's a corresponding blurb here saying The Great Gatsby of My Time, one of the best books by a member of my generation. When was this published? Let me check when it was published. It was published in, what's the publishing date? Oh my god, 1961. Oh wow, the 60s. So many blurbs by so many famous writers here. You have Julian Barnes saying a novel worth attending to. Michael Chabon. I love Richard Yates, his work, and the novel Revolutionary Road. It's a devastating novel. David Sedaris. I read Revolutionary Road once a year. Aside from its word-by-word construction, I love how his characters deceive themselves. I'm very excited to read this someday. It has Leo and Kate Winslet on the cover because they did the adaptation. This is the kind of film time cover I do not mind. So yeah. Next, I have Anne Patchett's Tom Lake. I've never seen. That's not true. I've never seen Patchett, but it's so rare to see like a relatively recent release here for this cheap. So I quickly snagged it because I know this came out in 2023. Yes, this is sticky notes I got for purchasing. And the final 5, I have Wyndham Lewis's Tar, published in 1918. This is in this Penguin 20th Century Classics edition. I do not know who this is, but I think he was a painter before a writer. And I just saw the edition and it made me want to buy it. Then I got Martin Amos's The Rachel Papers. This I think was his debut work, also in the Vintage Classics edition. They are increasing and I just love the color. I really don't know what it's about as well, but it's saying a truly sexy and funny book, a delight, the best teenage sex novel since Goodbye Columbus, which I know Philip Roth wrote. So I don't know if his voice is like Roth, but if it's anything like that, he might have me. Next, I have Red Sky at Morning by Richard Bradford, who I do not know about, or I did not know about. I just bought it because I knew it was somewhat of a classic because of this edition it's published in. So yes. Then I got The Flamethrowers by Rachel Kushner, a steal because I did not believe I could see this there. Yeah, I don't know what it's about really, but I know it's quite notable in these times particularly, and yeah, I'm very excited to read it whenever I get to see pages upon pages of blurbs by authors. I knew that this made it to the New York Times' 100 Books of the 21st Century list, so it made me extra excited to get it. And the final book on here is Killers of the Flower Moon, The Osage Murders and the Birth of the FBI by David Gran. Another recommendation from Vienna. From what page are you on? She read Gran last year. She really loved him. I have not seen the films, but the film Scorsese's adaptation, and it just kind of made me want to read the book because I do not do a lot of non-fiction. It has pictures inside of it, if you can see those. It has pictures at different points, and yeah, I just had to get it, so very excited. And those are all the books. This video is longer than it should be because I was not talking so fast, but 50 books, crazy. I don't think I'll be buying books till my birthday in July, who knows. But then, thank you guys for watching. A wrap up will be coming very soon. I have missed doing this. I want to do it so much more as the year progresses. Guys, pray for my reading. It is in shambles. But I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. And bye.